with myself. So I'm Christina Tilbrook, and I'm a Senior Intelligence Technical Specialist at Microsoft, and of course, specializing in health and life sciences. That's what it's all about today. And in my role, I focus in on fostering education and providing lots of support and technical skilling for Power BI and Fabric. And my focus is mainly on pharmaceuticals and medtech companies. But what makes this webinar really special is our speakers today. So I'm thrilled to introduce iLink Digital as part of our Copilot for Fabric series. So they're going to be the ones that are going to be showcasing all the fun stuff that Copilot has to offer, but from a data analytics perspective. So we continue to build these relationships, and Microsoft really does continue to build it with with data and AI and keeping these connections strong with our partners. It really is crucial for our business. So we, together with our customers, we fully understand the ways that we need to implement, and having partners like iLink are really special for us because they do bring a lot of amazing expertise. So what I'd like to do is now give the floor to iLink for introductions.
Hello everyone, my name is Ilayaraja Ishwaran. You can call me as Ilaya. Been in the industry for say close to 25 years, completely on Microsoft. My responsibility include I take care of the Microsoft Data BU business and also take care of the global Microsoft partnership. On the technical front, I'm the chief architect for Power BI, Fabric, and all Microsoft GenAI opportunities. And I'll hand it over to Saravanan.
Yeah, thanks, Ilya. Hi, all. My name is Saravanan Sadeppan, and I head the life sciences and healthcare practice within iLink. I have over 10 plus years of healthcare related experience, mainly around building products and services for providers, payers, and pharma companies. Happy to be here walking you through a demo use case that will actually give you a very good visibility on what Fabric's Copilot can do across Power BI today. Yep.
Thank you for that. All right, so now we're going to move on to our agenda. So we gave our introductions, but now we're going to be looking at what is Fabric Copilots and how do they fit into that Microsoft Copilot stack? And then we're going to spend the majority of the time, as I mentioned before, going over some demos, use cases, and then following up with the open Q&A. So iLink is going to be providing us with a lot of information to really help you get started in understanding Power BI Copilot. So first off, I just want to say, and this is an introduction you'll probably hear often, is just we're in the age of copilots. We're in the age of AI. So we look at things like the creation of the internet and smartphones and how that's changed our lives. Well, now the new era of AI, this is changing our lives. And we can see that today with some of our Microsoft 365 copilots and so forth. And there's a lot of changes going on. But we're really talking about now that shift into the data space. So we're looking at how Fabric Copilots is now being considered more of a pivotal part in the data transformation when it comes to insights and workflows and just driving innovation in the data space. So if we could move on to the next slide, we're going to talk about all the wheel of copilots. Okay, so we've got quite a few. If you know, Microsoft has data and AI, modern work, business applications, developer, operating systems, browser and search. And you can see there's copilots on top of copilots. And we're focusing on that green circle right there where we've got Fabric. And we have several copilots that are listed here. But if we go on to the next slide, we're going to see exactly how many Fabric offers. And that's what our series is really all about. We want to educate you on not only Power BI, which is today, but we also want to give you a good understanding of what copilots are for data factory, data engineering and data science, data warehousing, and real-time intelligence. So we want to take this to the next level of understanding exactly what each one of these copilots can do to help automate and assist in a lot of the data end-to-end usage that you've got. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing iLink back to the stage to give us that deeper dive into their expertise. So they can share who they are, what they offer, what they provide, give us those insights, the real world use cases and demos. So we'll start with Alea. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Christina. So iLink Digital, we are a global digital transformation company with 20 years of experience. And we start delivering value at scale for over 250 customers. And we are spread across 25 countries across the globe. And our offerings include digital strategy, data and AI, product engineering and cloud, IoT, RPA, conversational solutions, licensing and managed services. So if you look at our data BU business unit, this is our largest business unit in iLink, and we are a major Microsoft shop, and we won the Partner of the Year awards for 2021 and 2022 on Power BI. We are one of the few SIs to achieve all the advanced specialization status on data and AI. Just to mention a few, BI specialization and AI and ML on Azure, which is the topic for today. And we are a Fabric featured partner with plenty of success stories on Fabric. And we have published numerous win wires and live wires on Fabric to the larger Microsoft team. On the certification side, we have like close to 250 Fabric certified engineer, and there are like numerous initiatives which we are working on Fabric. So this would be a very interesting slide. People coming from the Power BI background, just to know about the evolution of Power BI. If you start from the lower portion, right? Microsoft launched their first service, self-service BI tool called as Power Pivot as Excel add-in, and slowly they expanded with advanced capabilities and launched as a Power View. So Power View was available in 3 versions, right? It was initially available in SharePoint 2010, and then in SQL 2012, and then it was available as a Excel 2013 add-in to make the customers' life easier. And finally, the magic happened, right? Power BI was launched as an enterprise tool with Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service, Power BI Pro embedded in the all subsequent years. And in 2018, this was also integrated with the Power Platform community. And then the major milestone happened. The Fabric was launched, and Power BI was part of the Microsoft Fabric suite of services. So what is Fabric? Microsoft Fabric is like a one-stop shop for your data integration, data engineering, real-time analytics, data science, and business intelligence without compromising on your security and privacy. So it has 7 different services, namely Data Factory, Synapse Data Engineering, Synapse Data Science, Data Warehouse, RTI, Power BI, and Data Activator, all under a single unified platform with the one lake architecture, which is one source of truth. So we'll deep dive in each of the Fabric services in the next subsequent webinars, which will be focusing on Fabric Copilot. And for today's discussion, we'll be focusing on largely on the Power BI Copilot. So as I said in the previous slide, right, it is an end-to-end complete analytics platform with the one lake architecture, with the one unified view of data. It is offered completely as a SaaS platform, making the customer's life easier. And it works with all Microsoft family of products. And for today's discussion, we'll focus on the last pillar, AI-powered Copilot Accelerator and ChatGPT, and AI-driven insights. So what do we need to do or to enable Copilot, right? So the admin in the admin portal, the admin needs to enable the Copilot. In order to enable Copilot, you need to have a F64 capacity or above, or Power BI Premium P1 or higher. So you can either enable this for your entire organization or to the specific security group. So this needs to be enabled at the Fabric admin portal, tenant portal. Copilot. So Copilot, it is available in both Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service. So I'll be showing demo in both the areas. So Copilot, so this is useful for data modeler, report creator, and end business user. So today's demo, I'll be wearing a hat of 3 personas as a data modeler, report creator, and end business user. So as a data modeler, you can ask Copilot to explain the model, create quick measures, create measure description, create complex DAX queries, and also create synonyms for Q&A. As a report creator, you can ask Copilot to create the report right from the scratch, ask, suggest visuals, create narrative visuals, right? So it makes your life easier, right? In today's demo, I'll be showing, right, within fraction of seconds, right? Whether you are a technical person or a non-technical person, how Copilot enables to create good-looking visuals automatically in a fraction of second. Towards the end part is the business user, right? So you can ask questions about the report, summary of the report, ask question about particular visual, and Copilot will address all your questions reading from the semantic model data. So let me spend like 1 minute on the difference between private preview, public preview, and GA, because it's very important to understand. And whenever Microsoft introduces a new product to the market, so they provide this as a private preview as part of the early adoption program. And this is enabled as a beta version and enabled only for selected partners and SIs, right? iLink has been like very privileged enough to work on all the early adoption program and work on all the private preview programs. So we learn the product, test the product, and provide feedback to Microsoft. So this is on the private preview. Next one is the public preview. Once the product is in decent shape, it is launched as a public preview to the external world. This will be like a trial version, right? So you can enable a Power BI trial or a Fabric trial. So finally, it's launched as a GA, general availability, and the product or service can be deployed for production, right? Customer can confidently go and deploy this for production. So today, some of the features are available as a private preview, public preview, and some of the features are GA. And depending on the preview features, right? So you can start learning the product and start recommending this to your customer. So let's move on to the actual demo, right? So we have just minimized these slides and we want to focus more on the demo. That's why we were like spending shorter time on these slides. So before I start on the demo, right, so I'll request Saravanan to give an overview about our healthcare practice. Saravanan?
Yeah, thanks, Ilya. So from a practice standpoint, we cater to most of the stakeholders in the healthcare spectrum, right? What you're seeing is like these four major stakeholders: providers, payers, pharma companies, and device companies. And from offering perspective, we do a lot of product engineering, which involves custom application development, data and AI services, which involves creating dashboards, reports, the data warehousing solutions that you build before it, and then Gen AI solutions and process automation frameworks around how some of the manual tasks around data integration and report creation can be automated. And then also on the security and infrastructure management services related offerings as well, we provide to all these major stakeholders. And from a demo perspective, right, today, healthcare data is spread across these major 5 categories: providers, payers, pharma companies, device companies, and patient who is like the center of all these data that's being generated upon, right? And for the demo today, we'll mainly be dealing with EHR, EMR data from the providers, and then also billing data, which is what's getting submitted to the insurers for the claims management around the utilization information around which drugs get prescribed for what kind of diseases, and then how those drugs claims get adjudicated by the insurance companies, and how the insurance companies use some of its plan data for measuring the trends around what's the specific usage of a drug, or like how the patient population health trend is like moving over a period of time. So that's what we'll see in our demo today. Yeah, we can dive deeper into the demo.
So before I start the demo, I just want to add a disclaimer. Since we are playing with the healthcare data, right? So the data used is only for demo purpose, right? And since it is all patient and claims data, so we have done the data scrubbing, right? So this data is completely for demo purpose. So let me share my entire screen. So before I start on the Copilot, so I will request Saravanan to give a overview about the current dashboard, then we'll deep dive into Copilot. Saravanan?
Yeah. Is the screen in enlarged mode, Ilya?
Yeah.
Great. So what you're seeing here is like mainly 3 report pages. You can see on the left navigation bar, one we have around treatment information, the other one on patients, and then the other one on claims. So when it goes to treatment information, what you're seeing here is about like where the patients are getting treated. And again, this is all in the context of today's demo related data set that we are using. Right, so this gives you a nice Power BI dashboard. It's already pre-built, but it gives you the visual representation of where the patients are coming from, what kind of facilities they are going and getting treated for, what are the different providers that they're going and seeing, and what's that information trend that is spread across in the last few years. And likewise, if you go under claims, you will see like where those patients claims are getting coming from, mainly from which state, how much of those claims are like settled versus unsettled. If they are settled, then for what reasons they are being like reimbursed for, right? Like the actual claims reason code that any insurance company looks at before they get reimbursed for. And then to which facilities those claims are getting reimbursed most, and who are those insurance companies that are like up to date in terms of claims processing. And then under patients, you see some of their demographic information like their age group, their demographic around marital status, and what are the different states where they're coming from, what kind of drugs they are taking, so that this gives you a good holistic use case to deal upon different subject areas like drugs, claims, treatment, the demographic data, and everything that you can nicely ask some questions on Copilots to understand the underlying data trends. Yeah, I'm
Thank
good.
you.
We can start the
Thank
demo.
you. Thank you, Saravana. So as I said in the beginning, right? So I'll play three personas, one as a data modeler and as a report creator, and then as a end business user. So I'll start with the Power BI desktop, right? So I mean, I'm sure you must have seen this screen many times. So towards the left, you see a report view, and you have a table view, and you have a model view, and a DAX query view. So I will tell you in each of the view, right? So how Copilot is very useful and makes your life easier. So before we start on the Copilot, there are a few settings which we need to make. Just go to the options and settings and go to options. The number one step, what you need to do is you need to enable the Copilot in the Fabric tenant admin, which I showed you in that screen. The second setting you need to make in the Power BI desktop, right? Just go to Copilot preview and check that particular workspace is either F64 capacity or Power BI Premium P1, right? I have already enabled this. I'm going to use this standard demos as the workspace for today's demo. The second setting, you need to go to the preview features. And so this will list all the preview feature. And I mean, not all the features are like enabled automatically, right? Towards the end, if you go, there are like 5 features which you need to enable: Copilot chat, pan in report view, measure descriptions with Copilot, improve Q&A with Copilot, summary with Copilot visual, write DAX queries with Copilot, right? So you need to enable all these features to leverage all the Copilot functionality. The third thing what you need to do is go to the current file data load. Towards the end, you need to enable Q&A, turn on Q&A to ask natural language questions about data and share your synonyms with everyone in your org. So this is the second setting you need to make. So let me start with the table view. Right, this is your normal table view, and towards the top you see a quick measure. So you have an option calculations and suggestions with Copilot. So let me ask a question: total claims for this year. Okay, and then I click on generate. So what it does is Copilot, it automatically reads the semantic model, semantic data, and gives me few options, right? So it gives the value, total claims for this particular year, right? And it gives a measure. And based on its reading in the data, it goes and reads each table, each column, and provides which is the most related date, right? For example, you can see measure equal to total YTD of this particular date. And there are like 3 dates within this table. The second measure is using billable period date and billable period end date, right? So if you are convinced with which date you want to use, then you say use, right? You can say add, and this measure is automatically added, right? So this will be mainly useful if you want to use like some complex measures, right? And if you want to enable quick measure, you can use this option. The second view, I'm just going on to the model view. So you have a list of tables and models, and you have the ER diagram here. I'm sure you must have seen this already. So using this model view, what you can leverage is like measure descriptions, right? For example, active cases. So you have an option in the property window saying create with Copilot preview, right? When you click on this, so it automatically reads and it provides a meaningful description from Copilot, right? So if you can read this, calculates the number of encounters where the condition status matches a specific string literal representing the active use cases, right? If you say keep it, and it will automatically get saved in this description. So having measured description is one of the best practices, right? So I have a separate slide on what are the best practices for designing a semantic model. This is one of the best practices for documentation, right? Let me try one more thing, resolved cases. So it automatically calculates the condition and says it matches the specific literal and representing the resolved cases, right? So you can keep it. So this is a normal best practice. You can use Copilot for this particular view. The most interesting part is the DAX query view, right? So I'm just going on to the DAX query view. So this yeah, it displays a DAX query, and you can run this. So what it actually does is it takes the top 100 table, top 100 rows for that particular table. So in case if you are not clear, this is a very simple DAX query, right? So in case if you are not clear, you can click on Copilot Preview. So you have an option explain this query or explain a DAX topic. So I'm just giving an explain this query. So what it does is it creates a manual, right? So explains what is the function. I mean, you might see this as a very simple one. In case if it is a very complex DAX query, right, this will be very useful. So it reads and tells me the what is the function used, evaluate, and what it does. And same way, it explains the query in simple terms, right? So let's add something complex to this, right? Can you add a condition to group by patients? So using this query, I'm just adding an extra condition to this. So what it actually does is it evaluates the current tax query and appends the condition. And you can see two views, right? One is the normal view, what you have, and it gives a code diff of what it has changed us, right? Number one, it creates a comment and what is the description, what it has changed. And it says it added a condition group by summarize columns for particular patient ID, right? So you have an option to keep the query or discard query. I am saying keep the query. So this would be very useful for like when you want to write some complex queries, right? Based on your natural query language, right? You can write, and then Copilot automatically understands and then creates a query for you. Moving on to the first report view. So at the top, you have an option Copilot, right? So I will deep dive on this particular feature in the Power BI service. Otherwise, it would be a repeat. Another important feature I want to show you is the synonyms. So this is your create new page. So I'm creating a visuals. I'm selecting a Q&A feature. So if you can see this screen, I'm sure all the Power BI developers must have used this one. So towards the right end, you have a settings. So you have an option, right? Improve Q&A with synonyms from Copilot Preview. And when you click on add synonym, it automatically adds, it reads the entire semantic model and creates synonyms, right? In the interest of time, I've already run this, right? If you can see this screen, So you have an option for each of the table approved synonyms and suggestions, right? So you can select and include in your Q&A. For example, let me go to the patient table, right? So it automatically reads, and currently you have like a patient as an approved synonym, and as a suggestion, it has like enduring, long suffering, forbearing, understanding, and address, location, residence, contact. And I'll give you a real use case, right, when I deep dive into some of the feature in the Power BI service, right? So this is a very interesting feature of Copilot. So it can solve like a lot of your problem and increase your development productivity. So I have covered from the data modeler persona as well as the report creator. So let's deep dive into some complex Power BI service. So I have two views, right? The current view, whatever Saravanan explained about the current healthcare data. I have another view. This is your normal workspace. I'm sure you must have seen. I'm just scrolling down to the actual work. So you can see a healthcare analytics report and healthcare analytics semantic model, right? So I'm just clicking on the semantic model. So you have an option to discover business insights, explore this data, share this semantic model. So I'm just going to say create a blank report, right? So you can see an empty report. I'm going to ask Copilot to create report for me, right? When you click on this, you have an option, create a new report page, suggest content for a new report page, answer this data question. So I'm just clicking on suggest content for a new report page. So it automatically reads the semantic model and provides me the list of KPIs, right? Do you want patient demographics, claim status overview, encounter analysis, conditional prevalence? So I'm just going to say claims status overview. I'm just going to click create, and you can check how many seconds it is taking to create this page. So it is giving me a list of table and to use. I'm saying claims. So normally what it does is it automatically creates. Sometimes Copilot, it gives an option to say like which KPI you want to use. So I will get into this details of this claims report. Let me add one more page, create a page for endurance. So you can check how many seconds it took to create this page. So let's compare the current page. Okay, again, it is saying which table. So I'm saying encounter. So let's compare this current page. You can see this claims page. Within a fraction of second, it's able to create very good looking visual, right? So let's compare this with the previous page, right? So this is the treatments page, encounter page, and let's compare, right? So it automatically creates count of IDs, count of conditions, encounters over time, encounter by provider, encounters by condition, right? And you can look at the visualization, right? It took me very less time to create the entire report. Let's see the claim status report. Sum of amount claimed, resolved cases, active cases. So this could be a good starting point for maybe a report developer, or this could be useful for even for a business user. So he doesn't need to depend on any person, right? So you can provide access to a business user. He can just say create a report, and I can play with like lot of data, right? For example, you write a natural query saying create a report for false claims, right, or natural claims, right? It automatically creates. So let's deep dive further. One more thing which I want to mention is in the Power BI service, you have an option, if you can see preview feature. So you have a toggle button. So if you want to leverage the entire preview feature, you need to enable this, right? So let's get into some complicated thing, right? So I'm just going to add a shape saying narrative, right? So I'm just clicking on this and saying a narrative. right? So I'm just adding it. So it says enable Copilot preview. I'm just clicking on say yes. So what it actually does is, so it reads the list of KPIs in the current dashboard and creates a narrative for the entire page. Okay. And then, so let it create. In the meantime, so you have an option. So for all the list of visuals in the dashboard, you can see around, say, like some 7 dashboards are there, and it creates a narrative for each of the visual, right? For example, in case if you are not interested in particular KPI, right? So let's remove this, okay, and then say update. So automatically it updates, right? So you can play with this data, right, very easily and say answer likely questions from the leadership, right? In case if the narrative is a very large sum of like a paragraph, you can say created bullet list of insights, right? And this is also interactive, right? Meaning, so when you click on the particular dashboards, right, active cases by provider, so the dashboard gets changed. So this is not new for us, and the narrative visuals automatically changes, right? So it gives a like a narration of the entire dashboard, right? For example, I mean, for any end business user or for a CXO level piece person, right? So you need not go and explain the dashboard. So it automatically does the job, right? Making your life easier. So let's try something more difficult. I'm also watching the time. So let's start with some easy questions, right? So this is as an end business user, you want to play with the data, right? Total number of patients. So as a best practice, right? So whenever you are asking any questions about a particular KPI, right? Make sure that you are on that particular page so that you will get an effective result. Even if you don't get a result, you can say search the entire report, right? It automatically goes and search. So I'm saying total number of patients. So this is a very simple one, right? So I mean, it just reads the report and says where is the source. So let me make it slightly complicated, saying total number of patients by region. So what it actually does is it goes and reads the semantic model, reads each of the table, reads each of the column and says, I'm sorry, but the term region is not clear because there is no specific term called as region. It says, do you want to find total number of patients by state or city or country? So I'm saying total number of patients by state, and then it gives me a very good visual of total number of patients by state. So this is very user friendly, right? So, I mean, you don't need any person to go and say, can you demo this particular dashboard, right? So you can start asking your questions, right? If you have like a slightly functional knowledge with the good knowledge of asking right questions, then you are able to play with the data. Let's make something more complicated, right? So I'm interested in knowing the number of patients, how they are distributed by age and gender. So let me ask this question, right? Can you show patients? Can you show how patients are distributed by age and gender in different age groups? So it gives me a distribution by classification by age groups. Let's see what it gives. So you can expand and see, right? So you can see um, 60 and above, 15 to 25, 0 to 15. These are all age groups, and the green color is female. And so you can notice, right? If you are a healthcare person and if you are analyzing this dashboard, you can see at the age group 25 to 35, you have like 55 male patients, right? Which is very strange. And female patients are two, right? So thereby you can do like a deep down, drill down using your slicer and dicer and let's ask some more complicated question. What is the trend of patient visits over time across gender. So let's ask a few questions in each of the area by patients, by so it shows the showing encounter sorted by date, and so it shows the trend right from which year to which year. What is the trend by encounter by date and gender? So let's ask some complicated questions. Show me the top 10. See, if you're a SQL person, right? If you need to do the same thing, right? You need to write a complicated query and you need to validate the query, use multiple joins, and then you get the result, right? So this Copilot makes your life easier. Right? You just type your, you need to know English and type a proper question, and you will be able to see a good looking visual visited by patients. And even if there is a typo, right? So Copilot is capable enough to overcome the typo and it automatically fetches the result, right? So you can see total number of patients. When meant healthcare organization, it means hospital, right? So you can see each hospital, how many number of patients have been admitted, right? So Emerald Grove Hospital has the highest number of patients. So let's play with some claims data. So let me click on claims. Total claims amount grouped by organization name. So these are all like, I mean, we have done the data scrubbing. So this amount and it's all not the actual numbers. So this is just for demo purpose. And you can see, so each of the organization name, right? How many, I mean, the claim amount, right? So again, Emerald Grove Hospital has the maximum claims. Okay, I'm curious to understand about the insurance, right? How many people have claimed through insurance? So what can I ask? So total claim amount grouped by insurance name. Okay, so you can expand and see, right? So Humana Insurance has the maximum number of claim amount, and say Medicare has the least number of claim amount, right? So I will show you like one more interesting feature. Which state has the highest number of unapproved claims? So it's saying MA state has the count of claim as 2178, right? So what I'm going to say is, so this is another interesting feature which you can try. Say, tell me a story, and just paste the same question. Sometimes when you don't get the actual result, if you are searching on the wrong page, right? So you need to say, for example, it's saying source as entire report, right? And accordingly, if you don't find the exact KPI, exact results for this particular question, whatever you have asked, you can say search entire report, and it will go and search the entire report. And so the interesting feature is it creates a storyline, right? Based on the data provided, New York has the highest number of unapproved claims, right? And it says the reason. And then it gives a story of total number of unapproved claims for New York at 950, which is highest among all the states, right? And it gives a number called as 1, right? When you click on that particular number, it shows from which visual this data is coming in, right? So for example, on the left side, you can see claim status. The second one, while the volume of claims is high, the approval rate may be lower compared to the other states, right? So, and when you click on two, and this is coming from the first visual, right? This is a very interesting, cool feature. And additionally, New York has like 22% of total amount claimed. And so this gives a actual insights, right? Which is the third visual. So this makes gives an interesting storyline of your entire report, and you also have an option. For example, if you want to like, if you don't like this particular visual, and you can say, you can type your natural query language and ask to change the visual. So I'm going to try a very unique thing, right? I mean, which you must not have seen in any of the demo. Let me try something predictive analytics. Can you forecast the increase in patient number for 2024? So I'm just going to, I mean, ask what is the probability of the patient increasing in 2024. Maybe I'm saying using linear regression model. So we'll deep dive on this particular data science on the third webinar series using Fabric. So right now, this current workspace is not connected to Fabric or OneLake architecture, right? So let's see what it gives using the data from the report. It might give you a result or it might give you an error. I don't know. I haven't tried this. So what it normally does is it can create a trend. So Power BI Q&A doesn't support forecasting or regression models directly. However, you can create a forecast within Power BI using built-in forecasting feature in line charts, right? I mean, in one of these session which I presented the same thing, right? There was a question, what is the difference between a Q&A feature and Copilot, right? Q&A and Copilot, I mean, does most of the things the same, right? But Copilot is all AI enabled, right? So it has all AI enabled features which you can leverage, right? Which I showed you in the slide, the large last pillar. So I'm saying, show me the trend of patient count over time. So using this, you can do all your analytics. It gives a detailed report of showing number of patients sorted by birth date, right? So it gives a trend, right? So I mean, whatever I showed is a very small snapshot of the Power BI Copilot. There are larger things which you can play with, you can ask different questions and different features you can play with as the three personas, whatever I mentioned. Maybe if there are any questions, you can post it in your chat window. Let's move on to the slide. I'm sure, Christina, I'm just keeping the time. So this slide, right, as I said in the beginning, right, there are a very important best practices, right? The semantic model is the basement for any of your Power BI dashboard, right? If your model is designed properly and you can leverage the complete Copilot functionality. For example, I mean, there are like plenty of best practices which you can follow, but I've just covered a brief and just highlighted which are the key one which you can cover. You need to keep the model clean. You need to have a data quality checks, right, regularly. And you need to have a proper relationship, your fact and dimension model, right? And you need to create group similar measures, avoid complex calculation. You need to have optimized performance. You need to use a best practice analyzer. And with respect to columns, do not use all the columns, right? Minimize column usage and have the correct data type, avoid calculated columns, right? These are all a very small snapshot of best practices, but there are like plenty of things which you need to follow. Maybe in the interest of time, I've just covered in brief. So what's next, right? So whatever we have seen today is the Power BI Copilot, and what we are planning to show is in detail the fabric umbrella, right? Whatever 7 services I showed you in that first slide. So we'll be covering the data flow, the data factory part, the data flow, Synapse Data Warehouse Notebook in detail. We can see how we can leverage right from the scratch, right? How it can uh, help minimize all your work, right? End-to-end fabric architecture, how Copilot can help. We can help you. We have plenty of experience on Power BI Fabric. As you must have seen, we won the Power BI Partner of the Year award. And we have like plenty of live implementations on Fabric as well, right? So in case if you want to leverage iLink for any Fabric opportunity or Copilot, right? We have a very good expert team. We also have like Microsoft MVPs, right? So I have shared Fabric Copilot 1 day workshop, which you can leverage. Fabric 4 week POC, we can do it as a consulting engagement. And there are like plenty of things which we are doing on the Gen AI side as well, right? Just moving on to the next slide, and I'll hand it over to Christina.
Yeah, I'm just going to briefly just talk about this. This is about all the different Fabric resources that are available for Copilot and for Fabric itself. We have information on the security of Fabric Copilot as well. And then we also at the bottom here have all the different Fabric workloads that we offer. So this is going to kind of give you the entire picture of what Fabric has. Now, I think for the next slide here, we're going to open this up to Q&A, and I'm also going to start to share some links in the chat.
Yeah, you can unmute and ask your questions if you have anything.
I don't know if everyone is muted here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to allow mics.
Or if you can raise your hand, maybe we can unmute. Or if there is an option to unmute all, Christina.
Yep, we just did that. Let me know if anyone can unmute and speak. We'll just do a little test run.
Just confirming you can hear me.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. A simple question. Is it anticipated that the Copilot will be integrated into Power BI as a separate visual product at any point in time, or is it going to stay as kind of a standalone where we would go outside of the Power BI to reach that Copilot information?
So you're asking it more as like a roadmap item if things are going to be changing. We do, I mean, our Copilot Assistant is always connected to Power BI, but we do have some Power BI visuals right now as far as whether you're using smart narratives or if you're using Q&A, those visuals exist where you can add them to the report as like mini Copilots. But the main Copilot Assistant is still on your right-hand side as an assistant that you can use, but it is connected to Power BI, but it's not considered a visual in Power BI, the main assistant.
Yeah, if I can just add upon, right, if your question is on the larger Gen AI and Azure OpenAI, right? So we have like a Copilot Studio coming in, right, where Microsoft is planning to integrate all the Copilot features within the Copilot Studio, right? So leveraging your Azure OpenAI and all your Chat GPT, everything end to end.
Thank you. Appreciate all the information.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions on the Power BI Copilot setting or Power BI desktop, DAX query view, or anything on the semantic model design, or anything on the Power BI service which you want to ask, or on the Fabric service? Yeah, Danushika, please go ahead.
Yeah, if we introduce Copilot, will it affect the Power BI developers who are present?
Okay. I mean, did you hear the question, Christina?
It wasn't very clear.
Yeah.
Would you be able to repeat the question, please?
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah, audible.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Will this Copilot replace the Power BI developers?
No.
Because many folks.
Not at all, not at all, right? So, see, humans are always intelligent, right? So you always need an intelligent to, I mean, to or even to write a natural query, right? You need to be like a very intelligent to write your natural query. In order to make the Copilot work, you need to have some knowledge, right? So to answer your question, Copilot cannot replace Power BI developers, right? So it is going to increase your development productivity, right? This could be a good starting point, right? Whatever I showed you, if you want to write a, I mean, create a quick dashboard on your own. So you can use this Copilot to say, can you create a dashboard for claims analytics or insurance analytics? It gives a good looking visuals, right? That could be a good starting point for you. And then you can start enhancing, right? You can leverage people like Saranan's expertise on the healthcare side, right? What more KPIs you can add, right? What dashboard you want to create, what visual you can create. Copilot is just like a catalyst for you to speed up your work.
Just on that point, right, to add more to what Ilya and Krishna are saying, the developers are going to be no more like a pure play developer only role, right? They're going to be a combination of both. They understand the data, they understand some of the underlying metrics that's driving the business, and then how those metrics can be like more visually enhanced so that the business can derive value out of it. So Copilot is a tool that will help you to transform from a pure play developer into someone who can understand the data, you can understand some functionalities of what the business context is, and then tie it to the technology, right? So it's like anyone can become a citizen developer with these kind of tools, and that's exactly the goal of a technology like AI or even the larger LLM-based models to a great extent.
The way we look at this is it's an assistant for you. It's not meant to replace you. So that's why we look at this as how can we have somebody that can help us on the side with certain maybe situations we have with building reports. So that's why we always say it's a tool to help you. It's just a tool in the ribbon versus being something of a replacement.
Yeah, just to add upon, right? So we have like a lot of exciting announcements in the FabCon Europe on the Copilot side. I think we'll try to share some key updates in the next webinar. And don't miss out the next webinar. It's going to be complete Fabric Copilot, right? Whatever you have seen today on the Power BI one, right? So you're just going to write your natural query, create a table, change the column, remove duplicates and things like that. And like end-to-end Fabric architecture, right? How Copilot is going to help you. That would be the next session. And as Christina was saying, the subsequent session on the data science and data engineering, it's going to be like more useful, right? So you are going to add machine learning expertise, right? And you can write all your ML models. Copilot can write all your ML models. So stay tuned for all the exciting updates.
Alea, we have another question here in the chat that I'd like to know if you can look at, which is what is the best data model for Power BI Copilot? And I saw a different performance when using different data models. What are the best practices?
So I would say, I mean, it's like a very larger question, right? So maybe I'll try to answer. So you have like a plenty of options within Power BI, right? So you have a best practice analyzer, which you can use, fine tune your model and your DAX analyzer for manipulating all your DAX queries. With respect to Copilot, right? Whatever I shared, some of the best practices from the designing the semantic model I shared. I mean, it's not a very simple answer. There are much more to it, right? While designing your entire data model, right? It all has like you need to have your proper measures, proper facts and dimension, proper hierarchies, right? And it's not a very simple answer. It's a larger answer which we need to discuss in detail.
Any other further questions in the chat or something where you'd like to raise your hand and ask live?
We have a very silent crowd today.
It's Monday.
People
Yes,
are
we
getting
have.
started.
Actually,
Mohammed.
we have someone Yes, someone has raised their
Yes,
hand.
sorry. Hi, Christina, Leora,
Hi.
and Savana. Thanks for this wonderful session. I think Savana, question is not there because this was a wonderful session, very nicely explained. So I've been practicing Copilot for last couple of weeks. So there were a few questions which were in mind. I think those got answered. So I don't have any questions. So that's good. Thanks a lot, guys, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And in case if you are interested in doing a pilot POC, or if you want to know more about Power BI Copilot or Office Copilot or Fabric Copilot, reach out to us. We have like a very strong team. We can help support as a consulting engagement and speed up your work and kickstart the new Fabric journey. And Power BI and Fabric all stitched together, right? So we have like plenty of Power BI customers migrating to Fabric, right? And that's going to be an easy path for us. And thereby we have like more Fabric customers, right? Because of all the Power BI expertise, right? So reach out to us for any opportunity discussion, or if there is like any special healthcare related opportunities, you can reach out to Saravanan. We also have Stacy in the call, right? Who can help us on the GTM side. Yeah, go ahead, please. Hi, Kelly.
You can be our last question of the day.
Kelly, you have a question? Okay, maybe she pressed by mistake.
That's okay.
Over
We're
to you,
gonna actually
Christina.
we'll wrap things up. Sure. Yep. So I want to say thank you to everyone that's joined today. Thank you, iLink, and thank you for everyone else that has supported here. Greg Katz, Stacy Rudeau, you've been wonderful. And we just want to say we look forward to the next webinar, and we look forward to seeing everybody there for Data Factory, data warehousing, and notebooks. So again, thank you everybody here, and we will look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
Thank you,
everyone. We'll
everyone.
have a
Bye.
very great week ahead.
Bye.
Thanks.